Now, now we can start.
Azanji, will you do your musical rendering?
Okay. I'll read including Sakshini.
Yeah.
Sakshini Kanada Daksha Dakshija Koturupini Kratukatyayini Swecha Swachanda Chika Vipreya Satyagama Bahistha Kavishakti Kavitwada Meena Putri Sati Mata Menak Bhagini Tadit Saudamini Sodama Sodam Damshalini Saubhage Daini Dvescha Subhaga Dutivardeni Shri Krityavasanna Chaiva Kankali Kalinasheni रक्त बीज वदोद्रप्ता स्तंतुर बीज संतति जगत जीवा जगत बीजा जगत त्रेयेतेशेनि चामी कर रुचि चांद्री साक्षिया षोडशी कला यत्पदानुबंधा च यक्षिणी दनदार चेता चित्रनी चित्रमाया च विचित्रा भुवनेश्वरी चामुंडा मुंडहस्ता च चंडमंडवदोदरा अष्टमी एकादशी पूर्णा नवमी च चतुर्दशी अमाकल सहस्ता च पूर्ण कुंभ पयोदरा अभिरोर्भैरवी बीरा भीमातृपुर भैरवी मारुंडा च रौद्री च महाभैरव पूजेता निर्मुंडा हस्तनी चंडा कराल दशनाना कराला विकराला च गोरा गुर गुरनादिनी रक्त दंतोर्दवी केशी च बंदूक कुसुमारुना कादंबरी पटासा च काश्मीरी कुमकुम प्रेया शांतिर्बहु सुवर्णा च रतिर्बहु सुवर्णदा मातंगी वरारोहा मत मातंग गामिनी हिंसा हंस गतिर्हंसी हंस जल शुरोहा चंद्रमुखी श्यामा सिमितात्मा श्याम कुंडला मशीच लेखनी लेख्या सुलेख लेखक प्रेया शंखनी शंखस्ता च जलस्था जल देवता कुरुक्षेत्रावनी यहाँ तक पढ़ा है। ठीक है सर। चल
So
start with Kshanada. So the Nama Kshanada, the one who provides one he gives. Kshana means that which is momentary. So Kshanada, one who provides the momentary. Now, Devi at operating from the Shiva Avastha to Pashu Avastha, she provides momentary bliss. Operating from the Pashu Avastha, leading the sadhaka back to his original identity. In a moment, she provides the flash of enlightenment. So, at both levels, it happens. Why is the pleasures and others called as Kshanada? Because pleasure is the result of the conditioning of the mind and the interpretation of our based on our preconditions, based on our vikalpas. So, in the worldly parlance, the experiences which we consider to be giving pleasures, they are result of preconditioning only. That is why you will see that the same object does not give the exact level, or even we can say it will not give pleasure evenly to every experiencer of that particular object. And this is a fact that is observable. It's an empirical fact. So normally we say there is a subjectivity in the appreciation. The experience of bliss is subjective. What do we mean by experience of bliss is subjective? The experience of bliss being subjective, simple example. Probably a person who belongs to Rajasthan might enjoy a mirchi vada. Okay. And a European who is used to very bland taste, okay, he will find it absolutely something that will not give him the same happiness. Actually, rather it will end him up in pain. So the pleasure not being the result of objective, the experience of the object, rather than the pleasure and pain are the conditioning, the result of the conditioning of the mind. And the conditioning of the mind and this generation of the result happens over a cognitive process, okay, a cognitive experience. And each cognitive experience, okay, happens or we narrate it as a sequence of events. Even though it looks continuous, if you break it down, it is a sequence of events. For example, even if the simple act of me talking, I may be talking, or it might appear that I am talking for 40 minutes or 1 hour. But actually, it is not. I am, or each act of the talk is broken down, or is can or should be broken down to moments, to the each phoneme that comes out of the mouth. That is exactly one unit of the action. That being built up together gives the pronunciation of the word. Pronunciation of the words together brings up the pronunciation of the sentence, and it goes on. Similarly is our experience while listening and understanding also. So each of these cognitive activities happens, okay, every moment. Moment is not second, okay, it's the smallest unit to which you can break it down. And each of these produces collective memories or collective experiences. But since the act itself is kshana, the pleasure or the pain is also the result of that kshanika, okay, that momentary act. Therefore, in the Pashu Avastha, we say Devi bestows the phala, the result, okay, every moment. In the process of involution, during our when we attain, or when we are about to attain, okay, our core self. So we have accepted the 3 malas to be cognitive errors. And the transition from the Baddha, that is the bound and ever free Shiva, is letting go of all the malas. Even if one mala is there, we are still Baddha Jivas, because we recognize 7 levels of pramatas. Okay, in the Sakala Pramata, all the 3 malas are in full dense capacity. As we go up the thing, each malas get dropped, but still, till all the 3, that is still the Anava mala is also dropped, one does not become, in sense, one does not understand himself to be Shiva. Though there will be an intellectual understanding, experiential understanding, or the experience of one being Shiva doesn't happen. And this letting go and the dawn of one's recognition or one's realization is or happens in a flash. That's all it requires. So we have quoted this verse from the Kenopanishad in quite a few instances also. So wherein it says it happens once in a moment, and once that has happened, that experience sustains. Once we have realized ourselves, that realization sustains. There is no going back. So Kenopanishad says Sakrit. It happens once. Like a flash of lightning, it will happen. Sakrit Vidyut. And the moment that happens, then it becomes Sada. That experience becomes permanent. So Sada Vidyut. Sakrit Vidyut, Sada Vidyut. This is the final conclusion of the Kenopanishad. So, in a moment, this flash of realization or understanding dawns. Therefore, there also it is Kshana. Both in the Jiva Avastha, the experiences of pleasures and pains are momentary, and the realization of oneself to be Shiva also dawns in a flash, in a second. Therefore, she being the bestower of both, she is called as Kshanada. The next nama is Daksha. Daksha, we have already seen in the nama of Dakshina. So Daksha is one who is skillful, one who is in the sense Devi is referred to as being skillful, that she is consistently, she engages in the act of anugraha on the sadhaka. She knows how and when and where a person's mala, okay, has to attain a sense of fruition, which we call as paripaka, and the grace ensures that it happens. So we may all think that it is our own volition that we are either progressing in sadhana or anything like that. But the agamas are very, very clear. It says we would not even be looking towards anything spiritual until unless the grace has started operating. And the grace is nothing but Shakti in our system. It is Shakti who is Anugraha. So she is Daksha. She very persistently and skillfully ensures that this Anugraha restores all the misconceptions, all the ideological stories that we have built, which we call as the Vikalpas, okay, and reversing it ensures that we realize our true state of being. So she is Daksha. Otherwise, from the legends of the Devi, we know that she rescues at every given time, every given opportunity, the world from all the distress that is, that causes disturbance to the dharma. Therefore, she is also Daksha from that point of view. Very skillfully, she handles the how she has to tackle the adharma. So she is Daksha. Dakshaja. Dakshaja, one who is the daughter of Daksha. See, the Puranas refer to Prajapatis. Who are Prajapatis? Prajapatis are those beings created for the promulgation of life after or during the Kalpa Srishti has taken place. Kalpa is a period that follows in a cyclical manner. See, our conceptualization of time is cyclical or linear-cyclical. We have the Chaturyugas. These Chaturyugas will form Manvantara. The Manvantara will form Kalpa. Okay. And the Kalpa constitutes Brahma's day. And Brahma is also having a fixed lifespan of 100 years. Like this, the entire cycle gets repeated. In this, the constant being or the constant entity is Shiva. Okay. And that is why the act of samhara in the Panchakrityas is retained by him and given to his Amsha Rudra. Because the one who performs samhara has to be there at the time of Srishti and after the samhara takes place also. So that constant entity is Shiva. So it's a samhara murti. And he ensures that the next cycle of creation starts. So during every cycle of creation, the Manvantaras, the Manus are there. There is a Prajapati also. And the Prajapatis are entrusted with the creation of life forms. So Daksha was one such Prajapati. He was son of Brahma. Okay, the Chaturmukha Brahma. And he was entrusted with the task of propagation and promulgation of life. And he had two wives, if I remember, Asikni and Prasuti. And it is from Prasuti that Sati is born, who marries Shrikantha Rudra or Shiva. So, Sati being the daughter of Daksha Prajapati and Prasuti, she is called as Daksha Ja, the daughter of Daksha. Okay. Now, this is from the Puranika point of view. Now, how do we understand this Nama from the Adhyatma point of view? For that, let us understand how we perform sadhana. There are two things which are considered essential for a sadhaka. Those two things are having received the instructions in the right tradition and having explicit faith and practicing it consistently. So, Traipura Siddhanta, which is an Upadesha which is given at the time of initiation, it makes it very clear. It says, Sampradaya Vishwasabhyam Tat Siddhi. The Siddhi, the highest benefit out of this sadhana can come when the sadhaka or the disciple or shishya has Sampradaya and Vishwasa. Sampradaya means that which has been handed over. Samprada, that which has been handed over. And handed over means something that has come down through the generation. And a Sat Sampradaya is that which originates from none other than Shiva himself. So Shiva becomes the Adi Guru. And from there, the entire teachings flow. So our systems which all depend or which fall back upon the Agamas belong to this Sat Sampradaya because Agamas are handed over by Shiva himself. They are teachings of Shiva himself. They are also not just having a very namesake, professing a namesake this thing. One has to have that practice system or the practice traditions which are based on the teachings of these tantras and agamas. So to achieve that, Acharya Abhinav Gupta and others went to great extent, taking so much of pain in consolidating and clarifying. So when we look into some of the uh, arguments that Acharya gets into in the Tantra Loka, and more so to understand why he says that, when we read the commentaries of Acharya Jayaratha and others, we will know that how much of pain has been taken by him in order to establish the right from the corruptions that creep into the systems. And having established that, having followed such tradition, one has to have full faith, explicit faith, that is Vishwasa, and one has to completely practice that sadhana. So normally we say someone who wants to have what is the criteria of being a mumukshu? Mumukshu means one who wants liberation. What is the criteria of being a mumukshu? If you have to give an analogy for a mumukshu, he says mumukshu would be earning for the realization as much as a person whose stuffed up hair is on fire will be earning to get the water to dose the fire from his head. You get the analogy, right? Someone's hair has caught fire. So what urgency he will display to find water in order to put down the fire. That is the urgency a mumukshu shows towards realization. So mumukshutva is having that desperateness for realization. So it does not come when we pursue sadhana as a part-time in our free time. Does not mean we have to let go of our activities. It only means cultivating that attitude of seriousness towards our sadhana. So that is called as the Vishwasa. When a person is endowed with these two, then the sadhana makes it possible for him to achieve the goal. And this sadhana has to be consistent, and it increases in intensity as one progresses. You develop a state of perfection in the sadhana. Whatever marga you take, whether you go by the mantra marga, you go by the yoga marga or jnana marga, whatever marga you go by, the consistent performance of the sadhana ensures that one attains the required expertise. And it is this expertise which is actually called as yoga by Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita. Yoga karmasu kaushalam. Dexterity in that action is yoga. Dexterity in the sadhana is yoga. So once he has reached that perfection in the sadhana, then the realization, as explained in the Namakshanada, happens immediately. And this realization is knowing oneself to be the Purnachit or Parachit, which is none but Devi herself. So she is the result of consistent practice. So this consistent practice requires expertise on the part of the sadhaka, which is daksha. And at the end of this sadhana, since we are in a position to realize ourselves to be her, she is called as Dakshaja, one who can be attained through such practice. Even in Lalita Sahasranama, we have one similar nama which is Abhyasa Atishaya Jnata. How can we realize her? By Abhyasa, by constant practice. Constant practice will lead to Atishaya. Atishaya is improvement from the previous stage. And if this cycle keeps repeating, we will reach the stage where we will be in a position to have that Purna Jnana. So, Abhyasa Atishaya Jnata. Same as Dakshaja. So, she is Dakshaja. The next nama is Koti. No.
Kotru.
Koti,
Kot-
Koti Rupini.
Kotu.
Kotrupini.
Koti,
Kotu Rupini, right? But
Correct.
yeah, I think this
Koti,
is spelling error. I think what Induji is reading is the correct name.
yeah, Koti
Kotu
Rupini.
Rupini. Kotu Rupini.
Yeah, it should be Koti Rupini.
Koti is in my book. Koti
Yeah,
Rupini.
that
Kotu
makes
Rupini.
sense. That makes sense. Koti Rupini makes
Crore
sense.
Rupini.
Koti Rupini, one who is of the nature, one who is of the form of Koti. Now, Koti is not used in the primary sense that we understand as a numerical value. So, Koti is not crore. Koti means the end. Koti means the end. So, Koti Rupini, one whose nature is that of the end. What is the meaning of end here? We are not understanding the word end in a kind of a spatial sense. Okay, there is some distance to be covered and that end being that Koti. No, that is not the intent here. Here, end means the involution process wherein the tattvas, okay, and the tattva sangraha is taking place, wherein the Prithvi merges into Jala, Jala merges into the Agni and keeps going till there is nothing other than when the Sadashiva Tattva merges into Shiva Shakti. That is the end we are talking of. So, Koti Rupini is when we have the full Tattva Jaya as established by the Malini Vijayotara Tantra. One who can be realized at the end of the Tattva Jaya. Since that end results in the dawn of our own realization, she is that Rupa itself. One who is attained or one who is known or realized at the end of this process of the Tattva Jaya. Koti Rupini.
Koti Rupini.
Yeah, in the sense of Koti, I'm sure you must have heard the name of the place Dhanushkoti. Dhanushkoti is near Rameshwaram. It's around a few kilometers from Rameshwaram. It is this Dhanushkoti which is the actual Ramasetu. It is called as Dhanushkoti because when the Vanara army wanted Rama to select the spot from which the Setu has to be built, Rama touched that spot with the end of his bow. So Dhanush Koti, the end of the bow, since that place was touched by the end of the bow or the edge of the bow of Rama, it came to be known as Dhanush Koti. So Koti Shabda there is used in the sense of the end. Okay. And actually that is the Setu. It's a very beautiful place. If you any of you wish to visit Rameshwaram, normally uh, only if you are informed, people go there. Otherwise, they think Rameshwaram itself is Setu. No, Setu is Dhanushkoti. And the Setu Snana and all those that has been talked about in the various Puranas is referring to the Snana taking place in that Dhanushkoti. Another Nama also has the same end meaning of Koti as end, which is Kama Koti. Kama Koti is the name of Devi Kamakshi in Kanchipura. So there, Kama Koti, one who brings the end for all materialistic kamas. By her grace, when she bestows the Atma Sakshatkara, the realization of oneself, it results in the end of all other trivial pleasures. So Kama comes to an end there. So she is Kama Koti.
Koti.
So the Koti Shabda meaning the end is in vogue, but we are using that without fully realizing what that Koti is. Koti Rupini, one who is understood at the end of the Tattvajaya process.
Kratu.
Kratuhu.
Kratuhu.
Kratuhu. Kratu means yajna. So Devi is called as Kratuhu, the yajna. Now yajna has been explained in many Vedic texts at 3 levels. The Adi Bhautika, which is the physical level, then Adi Daivika, subtle or the Sukshma level, and Adhyatmika, the spiritual level. So Yajna as an act, actually Kratu comes from Kr, to do. So that which is done, okay, that which is done to achieve a certain purpose is called as Kratu. Okay. So when we understand the Shrauta Yajnas, they are performed for attaining certain desires. Okay, so therefore they are Kratus in that sense. The Adhidaivika Yajnas are the mental activities. Okay, and Shri Aurobindo explains this in a very excellent manner. The yajna, no, understanding the yajna at that 3 levels. Adhyatmika yajna is at spiritual level. And it is this spiritual level yajna that even Lalita Sahasranama refers in the one of the earliest namas when it says Chidagni Kunda Sambhuta. How does the Devi originate? She originates from Chitagni Kunda. Kunda means the place, the Vedic altar. Chit Agni, where Chit is the Agni, where consciousness is the fire. So Devi is born from the consciousness of fire, which means that she is of the nature of consciousness descending in order to perform certain functionalities. So this is how Shiva, out of his own Swatantra Shakti, becoming the Jiva, that is the process. Okay. So Chidagni is that Adhyatmika Yajna, and our effort through, whether it is through the Jnana Marga or the Yoga Marga, is to realize that these contractions are caused by our own volition. And how do we get out of this contraction? Through following the Sattarka and other Yoga Margas. So Kratu means that supreme path for understanding or for realizing our essential self. In this context, I will slightly, with your permission, take a digression. In Ishavasya Upanishad, we have 4 shlokas towards the end. Starts with Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasyapi Hitam Mukham Tattvam Pushan Napavrunu Satyadharmaya Kalpa Drishtaye Pushan Nersha Karme Yama Surya Prajapatya Vyuharashmin Samuhar Tejaha Yatte Rupam Kalyanatamam Tatte Pashyami Yo Asau Purushaha Yosavasau Purushaha Sohamasmi. Then the next shloka is important in this context. It says Vayu Ranilam Amritam Atha Idam Bhasmantam Shariram Om Kratosmara Kritam Smara Kratosmara Kritam Smara. Then the next shloka Agnenaya Supataraye Asman Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidwan Yuyodhyasmad Juhranameno Bhuishtante Nama Uktim Videva. Very important 4 shlokas, gives a very beautiful process. Starts with Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Apihitam Mukham. The sun that we see, okay, that is the physical sun operating at the bhuvanas, which are at the lowest level. Even there, we are unable to identify the Shakti. Okay, we are unable to identify that supreme principle which is behind the sun, which is physically shining and which is visible to us. And during our Sandhya practice, it is to that supreme Shakti that we offer our prayers. So, the mantra says, Hiranmayena Patrena Satyasya Apihitam Mukham. The rays of the sun are appearing golden, no, full of light, and it is covering the truth behind, the essence behind that physical presence of that light. So Satya, the truth which is hiding behind this, is hidden by this golden vessel, or this the luminescent body that we are seeing as a sun. The prayer is Tat Tvam Pushan Apavranu. May you remove that cover, that which is hiding the truth which is lying within you, so that we will be able to fully see and realize the essential truth, the Satya and the Dharma. Satya Dharmaya Drishtaye. What is this essential truth behind Surya? That essential truth behind the Surya is what our Agamas call as the Martanda Bhairava. So the Martanda is not the sun as referred in the Jyotisha and other Shastric texts, because that Surya operates at a level of Bhuvana which is much lower than even the Buddhi Tattva. The Martanda Bhairava is referring to Shiva Surya, Shiva who is the Surya. And that is why Martanda Bhairava is the form where Shiva and Shakti are, okay, the iconography of Martanda Bhairava is like Ardhanarishwara. It's very surprising. Martanda Bhairava's iconography, if you have to represent, he will be like Ardhanarishwara. The Dhyana Shloka of Martanda Bhairava is like that. Hema Amboja Pravala Apratima Nija Ruchim Charu Khatwanga Patno Shankham Chakram Sapasham Srinimati Ruchiram Akshamalam Kapalam Hastambojair Dadhanam Tri Nayana Vilasat Veda Vaktra Abhiramam. Veda Vaktra means has 4 faces. So he will have 4 faces, each with different colors. Hema Amboja Pravala Pratima. Okay. Martandam Vallabhardham. Martanda Bhairava is Vallabha Ardha. Half his body is Vallabha. Half his body is Shakti. So the Martanda Bhairava who is behind this physical Surya is Shiva Shakti Swarupa. That is why the Agamas call him as Shiva Surya. So that is the truth which we are praying to be revealed to us so that we realize that truth. So the very next mantra in the Ishavasya, it says, Yatte Rupam Kalyanatamam. I want to have the vision of your that form which is highly auspicious. What can be auspicious? Realizing ourselves is the most auspicious thing. So it says, Yaha asau purushaha saha aham asmi. And that which is the truth behind the Surya visible, that is the Martanda Bhairava or Shiva, Yaha asau purushaha saha, that Martanda Bhairava, aham asmi. I am that Shiva. And the very next shloka says, Om Vayuranilam Amritam Atha Idam Bhasmantam Shariram. This physical body is not me. Because when I die, or when the death takes place, I should not say when I die also. When the death occurs, what happens is the Akasha and Vayu, they go and merge with the Mahakasha and the Mahavayu. And the Agni takes over the Parthivatva, that is the physical thing, and turns it into ashes. Bhasmantam Shariram. So, Om Krato Smara Kritam Smara. Krato Smara Kritam Smara. Krato is that which with we act. It is the Chitta. So it is a reminder to the Chitta
Right.
to remember. So, oh, hey Krato, oh Chitta, remember. Smara. Kritam Smara. Remember what you have done. So who causes the wheeling? The wheeling is caused by the contraction of oneself by putting on the wheels to result in the Chitta. It is our own doing. We have only put ourselves. Shiva himself has put on the wheel. So this is the act, okay, that has been done by that Chetana Shiva. Okay, so hey Krato Smara, remember that you have done. So, okay, so this is what you have done. So how do you undo it? Hey Krato Kritam Smara. So, oh Chitta, remember that you had put on, therefore you alone can remove it also. Hey Krato Kritam Smara. So what will happen when that takes place? Agne Naya Supatha Raye Asman. I will be led to the Supatha. I will be led through the most noble path. Supatha. I will be led by the most noble path. Agni is not the physical Agni. Agnam Nayati Sannibhanaha iti Agnihi. That which leads me to the highest state is Agni. So, hey Agne, Naya, take me in that Supatha. Vishwani Deva Vayunani Vidwan. Yuyodhyasmat Juharanmeno Bhuyishtante Nama Uktim Videva. So our path to realization is through this jnana that takes place. And this jnana is what is called as this process of jnana is the yajna that we are talking about. The Agni and all those, okay, the physical Agni are representation of this final process by which we will be able to realize ourselves. That is the jnana yajna. So by calling Devi as Kratuhu, she is the process of the Jnana Yajna by which we will be able to shed what we ourselves had put upon ourselves. Therefore, she is Kratuhu. See, our system is the most easiest and also the most difficult. Easiest because there is only one entity. Everything we have to explain, we can explain through that one entity. Difficult because it is so, our minds are so conditioned by duality, it is very hard for us to conceive of a fact that she is doing, she is the result, she is the one who is bound. How can it happen? So that is the difficult part of the thing. But anyway, so when by calling Devi as Kratu, she is that process of Jnana Yajna by which we are able to realize. So this is what the very first mantra says. Tat tvam pushana apavrunu. Remove that lid, remove that cover, so that I see the Satya and Dharma. Remove that wheels, remove the Kanchuka, so that I realize my Satya Dharma.
True nature.
The next
Kat-
Nama is
Katyayani.
Katyayani Devi as the daughter of Rishi Katyayana. There are some references to the name of Rishi Katyayana belonging to the Shaka, belonging to family of Kata Maharshi. So we find, for example, in the Skanda Purana, that Devi was born, or rather not born, she appeared in front of Katyayana Rishi as a very young girl, and Katyayana Rishi adopted her
That's a daughter.
as his daughter. Okay, and this Katyayana Rishi came in the lineage of Kata Maharshi. Therefore, he is Katyayana, and when she was adopted by him, he gives her his family name. Therefore, she becomes Katyayani. So, Katyayani Devi, she travels. The Purana says when she was at an appropriate age, Katyayana Maharshi tells that Shiva is destined to be her husband. Therefore, she has to travel. So she travels all the way from Kedara, okay, the Kedarnath. First point, she reaches Kashi. She sees the whole place in drought. River Ganga is dry. And in order to feed the people who are suffering, she assumes the form of Devi Annapurna and resides in the Kashi for some time. And by her grace, when things are restored back to normalcy, she proceeds her journey and she reaches the banks of river Kampa, which is Kanchipuram. She performs penance. She creates a Shivalinga using the sand. Okay, so it is a Prithvi or the Saikatalinga that she makes out of the sand. And her penance is tested. The thing is that Katyayana Maharshi sends her with lot of paraphernalia, which turns that spot of the tapas into things that are required for her to perform tapas. Okay, and she performs the tapas and overcomes all the obstacles, and Shiva blesses her and says he will marry her in the Arunachala, or today we call it as Tiruvannamalai. Okay, so she goes to Arunachala, waits in the ashrama of Rishi Gautama. Shiva appears on the Kartika Purnima. The marriage of Shiva and Katyayani takes place, and they appear to the world in the form of Ardhanarishwara and as the final Jyoti. So this phenomena is recreated every year, even now in the temple there. So Katyayani is the name given to Devi because she was adopted as a daughter by Rishi Kata.
Katyayani.
Okay. So Katyayani otherwise means fire. Okay, Agni. So Devi is Agni because of her nature of being Swayam Prakash. Okay, self-effulgent. So she is Katyayani. That is why the Mahanarayana Upanishad, okay, which gives out the Gayatris of the different deities, while giving the
Katyayani.
Katyayanaya vidmahe
Vidmahe.
Kanyakumari dhimahi
Vidmahe, yes.
no Durgif prachodayat.
Yeah.
Very interestingly, the Linga Niyama is not followed. In all the other places, Linga Niyama is followed. For example, it's a masculine gender word, then the adjective or the noun should be in the masculine. Whereas for this alone, so it's not Katyayani. The Chaturthi of Katyayani should be Katyayanyai. Okay. So the Nama is not Katyayanyai vidmahe Kanyakumari dhimahi tanno Durgif prachodayat. Katyayanaya vidmahe only. So
Katyayani.
much was she associated or attached to her father Rishi Katyayana that in the Nama, this is the Vedic prayer. Okay. The Shruti itself calls her as Katyayana. Oh, Katyayanaya vidmahi.
Vidmahe, yes. Kanyakumari.
So she is Katyayani. Next Nama is
Swachhanda.
Swachha.
Swachhanda is
Swachha.
Swachhanda.
So Swachha, one who is ever pure. One who is, there is one who is not tainted by any of the Mala. Therefore, she is pure because Mala happens below the Maya level, right? So she is way above that. Therefore, she is Swachha. And because she is the Swatantriya Shakti, she is Swachhanda. Swachhanda is nothing but Swatantriya. Since she is the Swatantriya of Shiva, she is the that Shakti of Shiva, she is called as the Swachhanda, one who is independent. Okay. So,
Swachhanda.
Swachhanda.
Kavipriya.
Cha Kavipriya. She is Kavipriya. I think we will take up this Nama. There are a few Namas which you read, which are very similar to this Nama.
Satyagama.
Kavitvada and all those.
Yes.
Later on. So we'll continue from the Kavipriya Nama the next session.
Sure.
Right.
Thank you, Shekhar ji.
Namaskar ji.
Thank you, Shekhar ji. Thank you, Namaskar.
Namaskar ji.